Chapter 12. The Fruit Chew of Babylon.
"I am the head beekeeper,"
yelled Mr. Gum as he emerged from the tunnel. This was just his way of saying, "I am the best," for Mr. Gum admired beekeepers tremendously. And why? Because beekeepers are in charge of bees, and can command them to sting anyone they fancy.
"Ha-ha, me old Stilton. You know what's really going to be funty?"
said Billy William, laughing like a pair of scissors.
"When this here goblin army attacks the sleeping townsfolk." "Yeah,"
agreed Mr. Gum, chuckling as Yak Triangle pushed a bench into a duck pond.
"'Cause who knows we're coming? No one. And that's what a surprise attack's all about."
"Wrong!" said a pure, clear voice from above, and the villains looked up in amazement to see the heroes standing on the hillside, the sun gleaming behind them to prove they were definitely the goodies. "This is what a surprise attack's all about," said the Spirit of the Rainbow.
"Meddlers!"
shouted Mr. Gum in fury.
"Burger Wizard, do that thing with the burgers.
But even before Billy could reach for his first missile, Jake was upon him, knocking him flat to the icy ground. Billy's appalling hamburgers spilled out harmlessly on the ground, and the Spirit of the Rainbow swept them away with a broom made by a company called Forces of Good Limited.
"Yeah!"
shouted Polly in triumph.
"Take that, Billy, you unholy lobster!"
"Mr. Gum's getting away," warned Friday.
"I don't think so,"
chirruped Mrs. Lovely, and she picked up Alan Taylor and swung him through the air towards that so-called Goblin King. "Maximum gingerbread strength!" shouted the little biscuit. Even though this didn't really mean anything, he landed in Mr. Gum's disgraceful beard and gave a mighty kick at the emerald, sending it flying up into the air. Slowly it flew, turning lazily in the early morning sunlight, and dozens of little round goblin eyes watched it go. Without thinking, Polly reached out her hand and caught it, and dozens of little round goblin eyes turned in her direction.
"Me emerald!" moaned Mr. Gum. "Me lovely emerald, what's rightfully mine, and what I definitely didn't steal off a rich lady in London last year."
"Shiny thing! Shiny thing!"
the goblins cried eagerly.
"Shiny thing!"
"Uh-oh," said Polly. "Run, child," urged the Spirit of the Rainbow.
"Where to?"
squeaked Polly. "Just run," replied the lad calmly, "and have faith. When the time is right, you will know what to do." Well, all Polly knew was that a lot of scary goblins were coming after her, babbling, "Shiny thing," so she turned tail and off she scooted. At that exact moment, there was a knock at Jonathan Ripple's front door. He went to answer it, and was astonished to find that there was nobody there. "That's strange," he frowned, but then, "Oh," he remarked, "what's this?" He bent down to take a closer look. It was a mince pie lying innocently on the doorstep. A moment later it was gone, just another poor victim of Jonathan Ripple's unstoppable jaws. But then those jaws spotted another mince pie a little further along. In fact, there was a whole trail of them, and soon Jonathan Ripples was on a wild pie chase, scoffing up the tasty little scallywags without a thought of where they might be taking him. "It's like that dream I once had as a boy," he exclaimed happily as he munched. "The one about pies." From behind the Rippleizer 2000, Martin Laundrette watched his plan unfolding. Come on, he mumbled excitedly. He'd hardly slept for days. His hair was all messed up, and he was coated in engine oil and non-biological washing powder. "I'll show that fatty come lately who's the boss once and for all," he gibbered insanely. "Come on!" Now Jonathan Ripples was 3 pies away, now 2, and now he spied the very last pie. It was the biggest one of all, and it was perched right in the doorway of the washing machine. As if in a trance, Jonathan Ripples waddled forward. He reached for the pie, and Martin Laundrette crept up behind him, ready to Rippleize. But just then, Polly came rushing around the corner, the goblin army snapping at her heels.
"I can't. Goes on. No more,"
she panted. But then she saw the washing machine, and for some reason she remembered the words that were written in the stars. "The Fruit Chew of Babylon will sort out the truth of it all." And suddenly Polly knew exactly what she had to do. With the last of her strength, she raced for the washing machine, shoved Jonathan Ripples aside, and chucked the emerald in through the round doorway. Well, those goblins didn't think twice. They just piled straight in after it, desperate to get their grabby hands on the shiny green jewel.
Quick, Ripples, sir, shut the door, cried Polly. It's too heavy for me. I'm only 9.
Brave, greedy Jonathan Ripples slammed the door shut, and Polly started up the machine. Then she took the legendary Fruit Chew of Babylon from her skirt pocket and popped it into the powder hatch. There wasn't even time to unwrap it.
I hope I've done it right,
she prayed, and 2 seconds later, the machine rattled up and down like a baby shaking a wasp's nest. The water turned all colours of the rainbow, and the trapped goblins whizzed round and around in the bubbly liquid. Pop! Without warning, a goblin shot out from the chute, somersaulted through the air, and landed at Polly's feet. Pop! Without warning, another one followed. Pop! Pop, 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 pop! That was another 5. Pop! Poppity, pop, 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 pop! That was absolutely loads of them. Soon all the goblins had been spat out onto the pavement. There they sat, dazed and blinking in the sunlight.
But somehow they looks different,
thought Polly.
Where's all their fins and spikes and claws?
Because the goblins were goblins no longer. They were children with rosy cheeks and happy laughing faces.
Thank you, Polly,
laughed a boy called Terry, who had once been Captain Ankles.
You saved us. I used to be Livermonk, who burped ever so much,
said a tiny girl called Caroline.
But now look at me. I'm back to good old Caroline. The Fruit Chew of Babylon has made everything all right. What the grapefruits are going on?
Said Polly in amazement, as the rest of the heroes rushed up, led by David Casserole, the town mayor. Well done, Polly, he beamed. You found the 300 children who ran away in September.